Harley-Davidson. The name alone conjures images of freedom, chrome, and that unmistakable engine roar. But behind the legendary leather jackets, the 2025 financial report tells a different story. We found a hole in their pocket the size of a crater, and today, we're going to find out if the American legend is actually running on fumes or just shifting gears for a comeback. Welcome to the HDIN Research Deep Dive. 2025 was a brutal reality check. Imagine trying to sprint while someone is pulling your jersey back with 14% more force. That's what a 13.8% revenue drop looks like. Why? Because when eggs cost more and your mortgage feels like a second job, buying a $30,000 weekend toy isn't exactly priority number one. Management is slamming the brakes on shipping new bikes just to keep their dealerships from drowning in unsold iron. Imagine trying to run a marathon while someone is pulling your jersey back with 14% more force than last year. That's what a 13.8% revenue drop looks like. Why? Because when your grocery bill and your mortgage are acting like bullies, that $30,000 weekend toy in the garage suddenly becomes a maybe next year purchase. Harley is facing a forced defensive posture, not because they want to, but because they have to. Let's look at the family tree. The big brother, the actual motorcycle business, shrank by 13%. The middle child, financial services, dropped even more because they basically sold off their lemonade stand to Wall Street. And then there's the electric baby, LiveWire. It's so small on this chart it's almost cute, but as we'll see later, it's a very expensive baby to keep fed. Phase 2. The profitability abyss. This is where the plot thickens. We're moving from making less money to actually losing money. Fasten your helmets. For the first time in a long time, the core business of building motorcycles stopped making a profit. A negative 0.8% margin. To put that simply, for every bike that rolled off the assembly line, Harley wasn't just losing sleep, they were losing cash. When you build 16% fewer bikes, your factory lights and robot maintenance don't get 16% cheaper. The math starts to bite, and it has very sharp teeth. Who stole the lunch money? Meet the three bullies. First, tariffs, a $67 million tax just for the privilege of moving metal across borders. Second, logistics, $149 million gone because shipping things is a headache. But the biggest bully? Negative leverage. It's the cost of having a giant kitchen to feed 1,000 people, but only 10 show up for dinner. The bills stay the same, but the guests are gone. Phase 3. The financial pivot. When the front door is blocked, you find a side window. Harley pulled off a move this year that would make a magician jealous. Let's look at the smokescreen. While the motorcycle business was bleeding, the finance arm was performing surgery. They sold $4.1 billion of customer loans to Wall Street. It's like selling your furniture to pay the rent and then telling your friends you had a record cash month. It kept the lights on and saved the total profit numbers, but you can only sell the sofa once. This was a masterstroke of accounting, not manufacturing. There is a silver lining. They're cleaning out the garage. They slashed dealer inventory by 17%. That's 8,000 fewer bikes gathering dust in showrooms. It hurts today because it looks like a sales drop, but it's healthy for tomorrow. No fire sales, no desperate discounts. They're protecting the brand's dignity, ensuring a Harley still feels like a premium prize, not a clearance item. Now let's talk about the electric dream, LiveWire. It's in survival mode. They lost $75 million this year. They shipped only 653 bikes. Do the math. They lost over $110,000 for every bike they sold. That's enough to buy the customer a top-of-the-line gas-powered CVO Harley for free and still have change. They're pivoting to mini motorcycles now. Let's see if smaller bikes can solve these giant losses. Phase 4, capital allocation. In plain English, who gets paid? Even in a rough year, the shareholders expected their cut. Let's see where that money actually came from. Harley sent $434 million back to investors. But wait, if the bike business lost money, where did that cash come from? Remember that sofa we sold? The HDFS asset sale provided the fuel. They're keeping the market happy with one hand, while the other hand is busy rebuilding the engine. It's a high-wire act of keeping the stock price steady while the business finds its footing. So, what's the road ahead for 2026? Management calls it a repair year. We've got a new CEO, a smarter launch schedule, and a plan to stop the bleeding. They aren't promising a 100 mph sprint, they're promising to get the bike back to a stable idle. They're focusing on stability over vanity. In 2026, boring might actually be the best-case scenario. Lastly, even an old-school brand needs a digital shield. They're tightening up on cyber and AI. Why? Because a leaked blueprint or a hacked supply chain is the fastest way to turn a legacy into a memory. They're training their staff to use AI responsibly, ensuring that while the bikes are classic, the operations are 21st century secure. Harley-Davidson in 2025 was a story of survival through financial engineering and strategic patience. The road is bumpy, but the icon is still standing. If you want the full, unvarnished truth about the motorcycle market, you know where to find us. Head to HDINResearch.com for the deep dive reports. I'm your analyst, and I'll see you on the next one. Ride safe.